So far, we have only ever done very quick one-day projects. Our next project is going to last 3 class days, which means we will have to save it and then open it back up the next day. Saving it as a JPEG, like we have been doing, will not let you do this. For example, this is a picture that was saved as a JPEG, and I've opened it back up into Sketch.io. Notice how the buildings, you can't move them anymore. And also notice if I open up the layers, everything is all on one layer. This would make it difficult for us to add things behind the buildings and play around with making things see-through or not. But if you save things as something called a download sketchpad file, then you'll be able to open it the next class period and things will go right back to normal. You'll be able to grab individual buildings and you'll be able to see all of your layers and continue where you left off last class. Something that we need to change is saving things to our recent downloads folder. Your recent downloads folder is good for saving something and then directly using it, but it deletes your work every time you sign out. We need to create a permanent folder to put our work into that doesn't just empty and delete every time we sign out. So before we save this, I want for us to go and open up a new tab and type in the word drive, D-R-I-V-E, drive. Then click enter. We're going to access our Google Drive. It's just a place for you to store things where things won't get deleted. It's part of your email account. It's part of your username. Click on Personal Cloud Storage is the very first thing that comes up. Then click on Go to Drive. Now I use my drive a lot, so I have all kinds of folders and things in it. You probably don't have much of anything in it. Or maybe you have individual files but no folder. Let's make a folder. Go up here to New, and then click on New Folder. It's going to ask you, what do you want to name your new folder? Just name it Art, A-R-T, Art. Then click on Create. Now, your art folder will show up. We're about to start putting things into this art folder. Let's tab back into Sketch.io and let's go down 1, 2, 3 to export. Let's use this thing. It's the biggest word on the whole list. It says zip. It's a zip file. Zip, download, sketchpad. Click on this. When you do, it pops up in the right corner. But that doesn't mean that it's truly saved where it's going to last overnight or to the next class period, because it's only saved in your most recent downloads. Let's move this into our art folder so that it's nice and safe. Click on Show in Folder. Now we have, it's usually the drawing at the very top. You might have a bunch of other things saved down here from the day. But the most recent thing that you download, that's your current city. Well, we need to drag and move this into our art folder. We need to do something with this right here. take a look in your left column, and underneath downloads, oh look, it's the word drive, D-R-I-V-E, drive. We just went there. We just made a folder there. Click on the triangle next to drive. Then click on the triangle, small little triangle next to My Drive. And I want for you to pull up your art folder. Here is my art folder. Yours is probably at the top of the list. I have a lot of folders. I'm going to click with one finger and drag with another until I get over the art folder and I see this plus sign. Then I let go. Then, to double check and make sure that my drawing really did go in the art folder and it's saved all the way until next class, I'm going to double click on art. And I think it already did it. Now the art folder is open and the only thing in it so far is Drawing to Sketchpad. Well, how do we know what that even looks like? We need to rename this. Let's two-finger tap on this and let's rename it. Let's call it City 1. Don't delete the .sketchpad. Just put City 1 Sketchpad, then you can press Enter. Now we know what this file is. It's our city. It's the first version, beginning version of our city. Let's say it's a new day and we have to get our work back into Sketch.io. And when I click on open, you know, nothing's there. It is totally lost and forgotten about my whole session. So how do I get that City 1 back into my work? Or if it's the next class day, City 2, 3, 4, or 5. You're going to click on the plus sign. And I know we're used to dealing with this left area over here, but all the way up in the top right corner, there's this word called import. Click on import. Then I want for you to go over to your drive. Click on the little triangle next to drive. Click on the little triangle next to My Drive. Then scroll to where you see your art folder. Click on your art folder. And when you do, your City 1 Sketchpad, right where we left off, it's a Sketchpad file, which is good. Double click on this, or click once on it. I thought you had to double click. Click on open, let it load, and everything is back like how it's supposed to be. All the buildings can move around so we can still put things behind them. Now we can pick up where we left off. So now I've made more progress with my work. I have texture in the water and texture in the sky. Let's make sure that we don't have to do this over again, and let's save it as a new Sketchpad file. Click on Export, Download Sketchpad. This box does not mean that we're done, it just means that it saved it to your most recent folder. We need to move this into our art folder and call this by a particular name. Let's go to Show in Folder. Now right now it's just called Drawing Sketchpad. That's confusing. We won't know what that is later. Let's two-finger tap on it and let's rename this to City 2, or if this is another day, we might name it City 3 or 4 depending on what progress we've made. It's still only in our downloads. We need to put this in our art folder, or this is going to delete whenever we sign out. So let's pull up our art folder. If we go over to the triangle next to Google Drive and then click on the triangle next to My Drive, find your art folder, you need to click with one finger on your city file and drag with the other finger till you get over art, then let go. Now you have your old city, which only has buildings and a fade in the background, and your new city, which is updated, has a texture in the sky and the water. These numbers help us keep up with what version of the city it is.